Question: how do you make something as mundane as diving shears awesome? I'll tell you how. Give it a cool name, tell the customer they can have it any color they want as long as it's black.
No colors anymore, I want them to turn black.
And most importantly, put them in a really cool Kydex holster.
Look at this! Oh God, it's so good. So good.
Church here with Rest and Rank. Thank you for tuning in. Your viewership is greatly appreciated. Before I get started, I'd like to point out that Black Mass Divers is in no way sponsoring this video. And no one else is for that matter. Not even YouTube. Everything you see me use is funded by yours truly. If you want to support my work, the best thing you can do for me is subscribe. It's free for you and good for me. Win-win. Now, on to the review. Now, for those of you that have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I am very critical whenever it comes to reviews. I personally test everything that I review before I pass judgment, and I am nothing if not honest. After the long series of misses that I've reviewed, I was initially skeptical about reviewing the squid, but alas...
Please.
He likes it.
Yes, you heard it here. Church is a fan of the squid. Bottom line up front, if you are in the market for a set of dive shears, which if you don't have a set of dive shears, then you should be, then your next scuba purchase should be at blackmassdivers.com picking up a set of these. I don't have any promo codes, but I do know they do 10% off for military, and they offer free shipping on orders of $75 or more, so that's something. Yep, leave it to the public safety divers to come up with the coolest set of shears on the market. Alright, so what's so great about the squid, and why do I recommend you go out and buy it? Okay, first let's start with some philosophy of use. There's a negative trope whenever it comes to people getting into diving. Well, new people getting into any sport, really. A lot of new divers, especially dudes, will prioritize cool factor over practicality. And nowhere is this more evident than when it comes to choosing a cutting device.
Oh, Church, don't you mean a dive knife?
No, I mean cutting device. And that very misdesignation is responsible for most of this issue. In basic open water, we're all taught that a dive knife is an essential piece of kit. Correction, a cutting device is an essential piece of kit. Look, a cutting device only has two jobs. One, to cut yourself or a buddy out of a snag or entanglement. And two, possibly the more important job, do number one without accidentally cutting something that doesn't need to be cut. Cutting device scenario for you. Say you get snagged on a fishing line while you're diving. You bust out your diving knife in an attempt to free yourself, but in the process, you accidentally slice your low pressure hose. This situation has now gone from a minor inconvenience to a catastrophic gas loss. Anybody who's been diving for a while knows that if you need to make a cut without collateral damage, your best bet is either a line cutter or shears. Newbie divers, despite being told this fact, will still generally choose a dive knife over either one of these because we keep saying dive knife and the fact that knives are cooler than shears.
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Now, you make the option between a dive knife and the squid. Well, now the cool factor is neck and neck, and it's easier to steer divers toward what works rather than just what looks cool. This is the direction that the scuba industry needs to be going in. Make practical cool. Man, they should make that into a patch. Alright, philosophy complete, let's talk about the squid. The squid comes in Ziploc packaging, shears in holster, and includes a Delta strap. Alright, let's start with the holster since that's the main attraction. This holster is awesome. Looks great, rock solid Kydex. This detent holds the shears in position with over 5 pounds of retention and with no Velcro. I hate Velcro. My personal favorite feature is the fact that they use standard size EMT shears. That way if you want to switch or replace these shears with a different set, you can. The squid comes with this belt clip. The belt clip is removable, that way you can put it on your shoulder strap. Alright, on to the shears. The shears are pretty standard. Like I mentioned earlier, they have a black on black theme going and that makes them look cool, but might make them harder to find if you drop them. I saw a picture of them on the Black Mass Divers website next to a penny split in half, which raised the question, can these shears cut through a penny? Nice.
Nice. Nice.
Look at that. You can even see the ridges where the teeth just cut right through that. This actually cut through 2 pennies. The first penny was out of frame, so if you were curious if cutting through a penny would ruin the teeth on this, it did not.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
As far as mounting goes, I recommend using Ranger bands. Ranger bands are a great retainer because they're solid but can be cut off with relative ease if the retained item becomes snagged. I like the advertised location of the squid, but I disagree on the orientation. I recommend orienting the squid with the thumb hole toward the center to ensure a natural cross grip of the shears. The squid is probably the #1 set of shears on the market right now in my opinion, and is as of now a permanent part of my open water kit. That said, I do have a few issues with it. So if you look here on the shears, you'll see some rust starting to accumulate in the center rivet. This happened after the first dive in fresh water. I actually reached out to Black Mass Divers about this.
Hey John, yes, this one pin will see surface oxidation and blah blah blah, dive safe, dive often kit.
He also linked this care guide. Basically, he said that for economic reasons, they went a little bit cheap on the rivet. Did the care guide have something in it that could have prevented this rusting? Don't know, didn't read it. Why? Because I don't baby my equipment. The squid is getting the same treatment as the rest of the scuba gear. A freshwater hose down no more than 4 hours post-dive, and then an overnight hang dry. And hey, you know what? If it's just a cosmetics issue, I don't have any issues with that. My next big issue with the squid is this belt clip that it comes with. This thing is useless. They knew it was useless too because it only comes attached with 2 bolts for easy removal. The loop is only 1 3/4 inch long, which means that it can't accommodate standard 2-inch backplate webbing. Even if it were big enough, you would want to mount this thing perpendicular, but you can't do that because this tab is sticking out and the fact that the securing holes aren't spaced out enough for 4 bolts. Another thing is the price. This thing is expensive. At $70, this thing is twice the price of a standard set of diving shears. Look, I'm not saying the squid's not worth it, I'm just saying that if they left out the Delta strap, they probably could have saved $17. And the last thing, it's not a flaw, it's just a consideration. Having the shears above your shoulder D-ring, you run the risk of accidentally clipping off to the finger holes rather than the D-ring. If you do that, you run the risk of not only dropping your shears, but also whatever you clipped off to them. This issue is relatively easy to overcome. You can move the squid from your shoulder to your waistband. You can also train to make sure that you go for the D-ring as opposed to the loops. And even if you do clip off to it, it has 5 pounds of retention, so it's probably gonna hold up whatever you clip off. Ooh. And that is all I have to say about the squid. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. I do encourage all feedback, whether it be positive or negative. If there's another item you'd like to see me review in the future, please let me know in the comments section below as well. And remember, hit that subscribe button. It helps me more than you know. This has been Church with Rest and Rec. Take it easy.